Welcome to the Relationship Rehab Podcast. I'm Sammy, a certified breakup and relationship coach, attachment specialist, former love addict, and spiritual junkie. This podcast is for you, the hopeless romantic who loves to love, and a safe space for us to explore and heal our attachment trauma, broken hearts, and love addictions. Together, we are on a mission to become the love of our own lives so we can have successful, healthy, secure relationships with others. So if you're ready to create a life and love beyond your wildest desires, you're in the right place. Your journey towards becoming more secure in love and life starts now. Hello, my loves. Before we get started on this episode, I just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about a free 3-day masterclass series that is happening on Tuesday, June 25th till Thursday, June 27th, called Embrace Your Sacred Single Era. So if you're here because you're feeling lonely, unworthy, and incomplete without a relationship, and you want to learn how to love being single so you can start dating from a place of confidence and knowing your worth and stop choosing emotionally unavailable partners, this masterclass series is for you. Like I said, it is 3 days long, and in these 3 days, you are going to learn how to self-soothe yourself so you're no longer looking outside of yourself or depending on others to do that for you. You're going to feel empowered and confident and excited to date again because you are soaking up and being so grateful for your sacred single era that you now know your worth and you're no longer settling for the bare minimum. You're no longer dating from a place of lack and desperation. You're willing to wait to find that right person because you're enjoying your sacred singleness so much. If this sounds like something that you want to be able to have, I would love to invite you to sign up for this masterclass series that is starting on Tuesday, June 25th. And like I said, it is free, guys. So get on this. If this is where you're at, the link to sign up is in the show notes below, and I look forward to seeing you on the Zoom class. All right, let's get back into the episode. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Relationship Rehab Podcast for another episode. And today we are diving into how to be single, how to enjoy this time of your life and stop feeling lonely and incomplete without a relationship. I'm creating this episode because I see this all the time with the people around me, with clients, with members of my audience and membership, that being single is like something to avoid. It's something that people are seeing as a place of punishment and a curse and not as a blessing, which is exactly what it is. It is a sacred time of your life, of your chapter, to be able to really pour into yourself. But I don't see this happening, and I know how this feels. I have been there myself when you're single and the loneliness just creeps on you because you don't know how to be with yourself. And there's this overcast of shame as well, especially as we're getting older in this society, the time that we start to hit our 30s, our 40s, even our 50s. If we are then single, it's almost like, what's wrong with you? How come you're still single? Why wasn't you able to keep your last relationship? Are you that not good enough? Are you that unlovable? Are you that unworthy? And we place so much of our value and our worth as a human being on whether we have a relationship or not. It almost becomes this status thing. And when we are operating from that place of we have to have that relationship in order to keep up with societal expectations or expectations of my family because I'm now in my 30s and I should be having children and I should be married and I should, we then berate ourselves so much to think, well, what is wrong with me that nobody wants me, that nobody is choosing me? And it is not the case at all. And I really want to start to unpack some of those things in today's episode. So if that's how you're feeling, you're in the right place. And what I typically see with anxious attachers within myself, my clients, is that we just really struggle with being alone. We avoid it like the plague. We don't want to be alone because of all the things that I've just mentioned, that's what we're making it mean about being alone. And maybe, Auntie Susie or Wendy from next door is kind of looking at us and being like, oh, could you not get a boyfriend? Do you not have a husband yet? When you're going to settle down and have children? And these questions can be just so frustrating and annoying when you're in a space of sacred singledom or you've just left a relationship, or that you're dating and you're trying your freaking best to find someone, but for some reason it's just not happening quite yet. And I'm going to dive into maybe some of the ways that you may be holding yourself back, because then we have to give that awkward answer of like, nope, still single, ha ha ha. And then we go home and cry and just think about how sad our life is. So I want to be able to flip the script for us today. I want to be able to bring another side of the coin, if you will, into what it means to be single, and how this time really is a blessing. It is such a gift and an opportunity to be in relationship with ourselves, to pour into ourselves. I want to see how I can shift that for you today. All right. So another thing that I notice is sometimes we place a lot of value on having a relationship and a partner because it gives us that sense of purpose and meaning. And it just feels like sometimes we're in a waiting room when we're single and dating. And it's like, well, when is this person going to come along? And when they do, when I find my person, then my life will begin. Then I will feel complete. So it feels like we're just kind of waiting around for this person to come in and swoop us up and make our life better. But no, they don't get to do that. We get to do that. That's in our power, to be able to give ourselves some purpose and meaning, because we do not need someone outside of ourselves to give us that. We get that for ourselves. But when we are operating in this space of desperation, that energy does get felt by the people that we're dating and the people around us. I have felt it from others myself as well, and I have seen it. I've seen what this desperation manifests into, and it manifests into clingy behavior, like, and thoughts of like, I wonder if they're going to like me, and molding yourself into something that you're not in order to be chosen, because this desperation has really taken over. This energy of desperation has really taken over and is consuming every waking hour, that you just feel like you are one half of a whole and you just need to find that other half of you in order to start living your life, in order to start feeling complete. And when we are leading with that energy, not only are we putting ourselves up at risk of falling into unhealthy relationships or choosing emotionally unavailable partners, but we're risking completely losing ourselves in the process as well, because we are choosing this person that is not right for us. They're not going to treat us well. We're maybe acting from a space of chemistry over compatibility, not really thinking about whether we are compatible, whether we can make it work on the long term, but instead going after that short-term fix of, I just need to not be alone anymore. I just need that someone in my life to do life with, to go on holiday with, to do things with. That's all that matters. I don't really want to think about other lifelong long-term things, because that is my focus right now, because I'm just so desperate to have that person in my life. So then we do have that short-term fix. We do have that someone come in our life, but they are for the short term, because they are not in for the long term, for whatever reason that is, that they're avoidant, they're emotionally unavailable. They're also making a decision that maybe you guys are not compatible, because you've gotten yourself so attached so quickly because you're trying to fill the void, fill the hole, if you will. But they are trying to make a solid assessment of compatibility over chemistry. And we risk falling into something with our ex again. Maybe we're back and forth with our ex because we just can't seem to leave it in our past and move forward, because we have this fear of being alone, because we have this fear that there may not be anyone else out there for us, that there's no one else that's going to be any better. Like, this is as good as it gets. So we just try to flog this dying horse to death, really, to try and make it work, because we're just operating from these beliefs. So we're in this loop, we're trapped in this loop. And another thing that I see, and I call it kangaroo hopping, where because we just don't know how to be with ourselves alone, we just hop from one relationship to the next. I am a firm believer that everyone should have a period of time for themselves in their lives where they are single, really, because this is truly where you get to know yourself. And I know that it can be so scary, whether you're on the way to being single, maybe you're in a relationship right now and you just know it's not working, you are flogging that dead horse, going back to the ex, you are single and you just don't know how to be with yourself. It is such a precious time. It really is. And it completely transformed my life. Because when we look outside of ourselves for love, attention, adoration, we want to be adored and wanted and chosen so badly by others that we completely abandon ourselves. And we take all of this then into our relationships. We self-abandon in our relationships. We fall into people pleasing. We fall into all these unhealthy behaviors because we just want this vision, this idea of a relationship to work so badly, rather than seeing the person that we are choosing for who they really are. So we need to be able to establish that level of self-love, not self-abandonment. We need to be able to establish those healthy relationship skills of being able to set boundaries, being able to meet our own needs so we're not so dependent on our partners. We need to be able to learn how to communicate, how to regulate our emotions. Because when we have anxiety in dating and relationships and we're looking at other people to soothe us or rescue us from our emotions, that energy is felt. When we know how to do all this for ourselves, then, only then, can we step into a state of being able to attract that healthy, secure love, because we are now healthy and secure within ourselves. And that can take place when we are in a sacred single era. Now, I'm not saying that can't take place if you're in a relationship. It absolutely can, but it just hits differently when you really just look around, you're like, oh my gosh, it's me, myself, and I. And not to the state where we want to go into complete independence, right? Hyper independence of like, I can't depend or rely on anyone else because everyone is out to get me and hurt me. Like, we're not going there. We're going into, how can I establish a healthy, loving, grounded relationship with myself? So when the time comes when I am ready to get out there to date and welcome someone into my life, it is from a place of, you are going to complement this beautiful life that I have created for myself, not complete it and not write it for me. So yes, I know how it feels to be in this space. I have been there myself. I was in a relationship for 8 years where it shouldn't have gone on for 8 years, to be honest. It should have ended at least by year 3 or 4, because we were very young and we grew apart. We were not compatible in the slightest. Like, could not have been any more two humans that were like less compatible for each other. But I just could not leave that relationship. I was so enmeshed. I was so codependent. I was so dependent and relied on him for everything. And I tried to leave the relationship many, many times. And it just could not work because I didn't know who I was. Like I said, I got into this relationship when I was 15 years old, and I was trying to leave it by the age of 21, 22. And I didn't know who I was. I looked at myself in the mirror and I didn't know who that person was staring back at me. And that was a scary place to be. And it was so frightening that I just kept running back. And I remember thinking to myself, am I ever going to leave this relationship? Is this it now? Is this how it's going to be? Because I don't know how to be alone. And I stayed in for another year. And it was only through what I call the strength of God, because I couldn't do it by myself, and the strength of my family as well, to be able to pull me through and keep me away from him and the relationship. And when I tell you that it was painful, oh my goodness, it was painful to now step into this space of being alone, being single. I didn't know what that looked like. So I had to learn, and it was a long and lengthy process. I'm going to be fully transparent with you guys. It was a long and lengthy process, and I did have a lot of anxiety at the time because I just solely depended on him so much to regulate my emotions and to give me validation and affection and attention and love and all the things. He was solely filling up my buckets. I didn't know how to do that for myself. So it took me some time to arrive to a place where I understood the assignment, right, of being single, because I do believe that we are given a sacred single era for a reason. 100% hands down. I was meant to be single. And then I started to really realize this, like this, I am meant to be by myself right now, and I have to discover who I am and what life I want, because my life was solely dependent on what he wanted and his choices and his vision and his values. I had no idea what mine were. I didn't even know what my favorite color was. I was so molded into another version of him. So I purposely, consciously took a 5-year break. Now, I'm not here to say you also need to take a 5-year break. This was my decision. I was only 22 at the time. And I thought, right, I want to be able to really use my 20s, pour into myself to really get to know me again. And I did that through travel. I started to travel during this time as well to figure out just the small things like, what do I like to do? How can I make decisions for myself? I had to build up that trust for myself again. And when we are in a space of singledom and we don't have that person in our life triggering us or influencing us in any way, that's when we can really develop that deep relationship with ourselves. And I started to connect to myself. I started to learn so much about myself, my attachment style, my triggers, my patterns, everything. And I started to figure out what I really wanted in my life, in a relationship, in a partner. And working on these things for the whole 5 years really allowed me then to step into a space where I remember sitting on a beach in Thailand. I was at that place where I was so content with myself, so content with the life that I had created. I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready now to open myself up again, open my heart, and allow that person to come back in. Allow that person to come in and share this beautiful life, expand, deepen this beautiful life that I've created for myself. And within 2 weeks, I met that person. And it was because I wasn't dating from a place of desperation. I wasn't like, okay, now I just need someone to fill this gap, this void to make me feel complete. It was from a space of, I know he's out there. I know that this person is not going to complete me. He's going to expand me. And that's exactly what happened. So it's about being with yourself, with that life that you've created, being okay in that air, like that sacred singleton, being okay with waiting, being present with this sacred time and stepping into an energy of knowing that is going to happen for you and not comparing yourself to anyone else's era, shall we say. If someone's in their loved up era, their marriage era, their motherhood era, I know how difficult this can be if you want children or you want a marriage and you're in your 30s and you're realizing that the ticking time bomb is ticking and you're feeling it. Oh, I know. But not comparing where you're at in your life to others and fantasizing and blowing it up either, because nothing is perfect. Like, people who are in marriages and motherhood will tell you it is not all sunshine and roses. And maybe that is just not the space where that is meant for you right now. You have to go through a period of healing. You have to go through a period of inner work, self-connection before you can get to where you want to be, because best believe, if that desire has been placed in your heart by God, it is meant for you. But he is putting you through your paces in order to be able to get that, in order to be able to find that person who's going to be with you through that, right? If you want children, we have to choose wisely. If we're choosing someone who is not going to be that co-parent with us, going to stay in that marriage with us, then we are in for a long, painful ride. So this is why it's so important to get it right first time when we are dating, to be really conscious about who we're choosing, to be really okay with where we're at. Be grateful for this time, because best believe when you get into that relationship that is coming for you, you are going to look back at this time and really wish that you had done it differently. So do it differently. Get to know yourself through hobbies, through interests, and explore the world, explore your life. Focus on your career, focus on your personal development. This is the time to do it. Dive into knowing how to develop these skills, these self-soothing skills, these setting boundaries, like eliminating people pleasing, meeting your own needs, communication, conflict resolution. Get yourself ready. Get yourself ready for this person who is waiting for you to do the work and rise up, level up. And I honestly, like, use this time as a time for self-connection. If you are someone who maybe you're great during the day, right? Maybe you're like kicking ass at career, you've got a great circle of friends, you've got hobbies, you've got all that in place already. It's just maybe when you get home from it all and it's the evening and you're alone and you're sitting there and you're like, this sucks. Like, I'm just going to binge Netflix, tune myself out, get that glass of wine, get that chocolate bar, because I just feel like this is such empty space. I just want the evening's time to go already so I can distract myself with career and friends again the next day. Oh, the best thing I did for myself, guys, was really create this beautiful self-love evening routine, because that was me. I used to dread the evenings, really. I used to pour so much of myself into my career, and then when it came evening time, I just wanted to numb out with Netflix and wait for the next day so I can feel valued again, so I can feel on purpose, so I can feel like I'm doing something good in this world. I wasn't willing to really sit with myself and know that I am valuable, I am worthy, I am enough just as I am. I don't need a career, I don't need a partner, I don't need anything outside of myself to know that, to feel that. And I use that evening time to really do that work on myself, to get to know myself, to figure out those creative activities that I love to do, to really pour into my spirituality. I discovered reading again. I used to read so much as a kid, and then when I was in a relationship, everything fell to the sidelines, including my love for reading. I picked up all that stuff again, and I just started to develop this relationship with myself where I knew I could give myself all the things that I was looking for. So I want that for you guys as well. So really use this time to get clear as well on what you want and need in a partner, to stop being such a chemical reaction and start choosing consciously. Now, if this is something that you want to deepen, if this is something that you want to explore further with me, then I would love to invite you into a masterclass series that I'm hosting. It's going to be 3 days long, and we're going to start on June 25th. And we're really going to dive into how you can truly embrace your sacred single era. We're going to go through some of those limiting beliefs and stories that are keeping you stuck in that waiting room, and get you dating again from a place of abundance, enjoyment, and confidence, and not from a space of lack or desperation or wanting to be chosen. I'm gonna teach you how to self-soothe yourself, how to comfort yourself when you don't have anyone to turn to talk to, how you can do that for yourself in these evening times, or any time that you feel like you need that soothing, that comfort for your anxiety, for any emotions that you may be going through. And then we're going to round up these 3 days by getting super clear on our core values and our vision, so we are able to attract that person that we desire and deserve rather than chase. If that sounds all good to you guys and you want to dive in and join me on these 3 days of goodness, this masterclass series, I would love to invite you to click the link in the show notes and sign up for free. Did I mention it was free? Absolutely free. You can join me for those 3 days, and we are going to level up your single era. I'm so excited for you guys, really. I cannot stress enough how beautiful and powerful and life-changing this time can be for you. I'm super excited to be on this journey with you. All right, I'm going to leave this episode there, guys. Let me know how this has landed for you. Reach out, share it on your social, share it with a friend who may need to hear this right now, who may be in that space where she just really hates being single, and she's chasing and she's desperate and she's just like a demental when it comes to her dating life, and she just really needs to pull back and pour into herself. Share it with those friends who really need to hear this. All right, sending you love and light, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me on the Relationship Rehab podcast. I hope that this episode has supported you in healing, growing, and evolving out of insecure attachment and unhealthy relationship patterns, and into safe, authentic love with yourself and others. If you enjoyed the episode, it would mean the absolute world to me if you would just take a second to rate and review this podcast. Every rating and review from you guys counts, as it really helps this podcast to grow so it can reach more people who need to hear this content. And don't forget to connect with me on social media. Take a screenshot of this podcast episode, share it on your IG stories, and tag me at the.relationship.rehab with your biggest takeaway from the episode. I really do love reading them. See you back here next week for another episode on the Relationship Rehab podcast.